Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how you can do different things depending on whether the mouse is being pressed or not. So let's start from an almost empty draw. We're going to repaint the background to every frame to be white, and then we're going to draw an ellipse that's centered where the mouse is. And just to show you what this looks like, to remind you, when I run it, there, I'm drawing an ellipse that moves with my mouse. Okay, so let's do this. Actually, I'm gonna fill with a new color, just because it's nicer to look at. So let's start the same way that we did before. There's another built-in variable called mouse pressed with a lowercase m and a capital P, and you know you've typed it correctly if you see it highlighting in purple. So this variable is true whenever you're holding a mouse button down and false whenever you're not. So if you run the program and you display the console, you'll see it says false all the time, but now I'm holding the mouse button down and it says true. I let go of the mouse and it says false again. So that's what's inside the variable. So just like we did before with mouse X, mouse Y, you can use the value inside the variable to control things. So you can use it in an if statement. You can say if mouse pressed equals true, then go ahead and display the ellipse. So now I'm running it, but I'm not pressing the mouse, and so you don't see anything displayed. But then as soon as I click the mouse, you see the ball show up, which is actually kind of fun if you want to delete your background, so that now you can incrementally add things. What else? You could do the reverse. You could say if mouse pressed equals false. And so now I'm only going to display an ellipse when my mouse is not being pressed. So here it's displaying, but then I'm holding the mouse down to move to a different position, and now I let go of the mouse, and now it's displaying again. So you could do either one. And if you wanted to, you could have if else. So let's do this. Let's just change the fill color depending on whether or not we're pressing the button. So here I'll say if I'm pressing the button, we'll fill it red. Otherwise, we'll fill it green. So now, whoops, let's make this true. Okay, so now as the computer's running the code, it'll say, is the mouse being pressed right now? Yes. In that case, fill it with red. And then it'll jump down here and display. But then the next frame, I come back to the top and it'll say, is the mouse being pressed? And if the answer is no, then it'll fill a different color and display the ellipse with a different color. So I put the ellipse outside because I want it to display no matter what. I just want to do a different thing depending on whether the mouse is pressed. So I only put the color change inside the if and the else. So as you can see, it's displaying all the time, but now I've got this nice kind of watermelon, red-green going on. Christmas. As an experiment right now, why don't you see if you can make it display an ellipse when the mouse is pressed, but a rectangle when it's not pressed. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, let's do it. So, well, I forgot what I said already. So let's display an ellipse when it's pressed. So if mouse is pressed is true, I'll display the ellipse. But if the mouse is not pressed, then I'll display rectangle instead of ellipse. So it's doing a different thing. And I actually want to do the same thing I did in the last video where the rectangle is centered on my mouse. So I'm going to shift it left by 30 pixels and up by 30 pixels because that's half of the width and the height of my rectangle. Okay, so now I got a rectangle, but then I press it and it turns into a circle. Change, change, change. Okay, very nice. Okay, that's all you need for the problem set, but come back for one more bonus video if you're interested in seeing an interesting visual effect that's a little bit more advanced.